But someone was on the forums asking about the deck Domain Zoo, and just wanting sort of a brief overview about it. And I probably should do a brief overview about that, and probably Naya Zoo as well, Naya Midrange Zoo. But the reason why I haven't really done it is because it's not my favorite. I've got a personal bias against it. I also don't think it's very good in the current meta. When Jund was the king of Modern, I think this was a good choice. And the reason why was because of sort of the Jund conundrum. Jund sort of put forward this ideal that if you weren't playing Jund, then you have to be a deck that could beat Jund. Whether or not that was true or was just sort of a funk in the meta, I don't know. But what I will say is that the reason why Tribal Flames Zoo, and P.S. it was turning into Jund or Junk or Spirit Jund as well. It was just this gross sort of time in the meta that everything was just 4 colors because that was the only way to really do Jund. But anyways, I'm digressing. The reason why it was good then was because Domain Zoo was good because it could beat Jund. Now, did it have a great matchup against Jund? Not really, but it had a better matchup against Jund than some of the other decks, just because there was sort of this "oops, I win" aspect of it, while maintaining this aggro-ness. It also used the best card in the meta at that point in time, which was Bloodbraid Elf. With Bloodbraid Elf gone, I think this deck is not nearly as good. But I will get into that after talking about the function of the deck. We'll talk about the good parts of the deck, then we'll discuss the weaknesses of the deck. So, here we go. There's sort of a core of this deck, and I'll just sort of make the core of the deck as we talk about it, to make it easier on all of us. Deck editor. So, here's sort of the core of the deck. You take, you say you want Lightning Bolt. Now, Lightning Bolt, again, being the sort of all-inclusive red card, kills everything that it needs to kill in the meta. It's very, very good. It actually is the most played card in Modern. Then we talk about, we want a core with, likewise, Lightning Helix. Why Lightning Helix is so important to the deck that you would include it into the core? Because you're about to sort of domain it up, which means that you're going to be using 5 different colors in this zoo. So as such, you need to have a life gain aspect to it. You need something to sort of negate the fetch land, shock land damage while still furthering your game plan, and that's going to be Lightning Helix. You're going to need also some more burn cards, but more than anything else, you're going to need Tribal Flames. And that's a 4 of. It's a 5 of. It's a 4 of. Why? Because it says basically spend 2 mana, deal 5 damage. So spend 2 mana and go ahead and you can and 1/4 your opponent's life total with this spell. Now that you see we have Domain, we're very aggressive here because we've got the Domain Flames, we've got the Lightning Bolt, the Lightning Helix. We want some of the best creatures that Magic has to offer then. So we're going to look at Tarmogoyf. Tarmogoyf, being that you're already including your creatures are going to die, you're going to have a land base, you're going to have a shock fetch land base because of Tribal Flames. You've got its sorcery. Tarmogoyf is very often, more often than not, a 4/5 in this deck. This is better than the Gruul Zoo deck, which is more often than not a 3/4. I have a list. I think a 3/4 is a Night Zoo or Night Goyf, and a 4/5 is something else. That's a funny list. But let's look at this again. So we've got that sort of is our basis. But we're also since Domain Zoo means we're going to be playing 5 different colors, we might as well play the best 3-drop in all the 5 different colors combinations, which is going to be Geist of Saint Taff. So you can do 4 of, you can do 3 of. With the new M14 ruling, 4 of is probably more accurate since it replaces itself rather than dies, quote unquote. It's not bad to have. It's a powerhouse. I was gonna say Deathrite Shaman. You're running black. There's no reason not to use Deathrite Shaman. It's a 1-mana planeswalker. It does exactly what you need it to do, which is deal 2 damage to to players. It can accelerate you and mana fix you, which is huge in this deck and is very needed. It can also gain you life should you have to, but it's graveyard hate. So more than anything, Deathrite Shaman is the glue that keeps this deck together. Without Bloodbraid Elf's Cascade helping you alleviate the colors that you're using, Deathrite Shaman is your glue. So let's look at some more of this deck. This is generally going to be your core. You can do different things if you want to, or you cannot. It's up to you. But this is what you want to stick to. At this point, you're going to need to start figuring out your land base, which is tough. It really depends on what cards you put into the deck. Your shock lands, your fetch lands, you're not going to use anything other. Maybe 1 or 2 basics to get around Blood Moon, because Blood Moon will kill you otherwise. So like a basic plains, a basic forest. But other than that, it's sort of like up to you which direction you want to go. If you want to go aggressive, if you want to go tempo, if you want to go sort of like combo-y, if you want to go more mid-range, it's really fluid. This is just a shell. Again, it's a shell to insert other cards to and change the shell to sort of situate what you want to be doing. Let's look at some of the other choices you might have. Other choices you might have would be things like, oh gosh, Might of Alara. Might of Alara. That's also like Tribal Flames, except it can almost read sometimes. Target creature gets 5/5, which means it's basically a 1-mana Tribal Flames. In some situations, because it has it's an instant speed, so you can use it as a way to kill other creatures, or you can use it as a combat trick and just go, oh, that Kirdape is now huge. So it's like Ghor-Clan Rampager on crack at that point. But at that point, you want to also include things like Ghor-Clan Rampager, things that give trample, like maybe Boros Charm, which does double strike. Boros Charm with Might of Alara is redonkulous, because you can hit someone for 14. It's insane, and it curves very well too. You can do a turn 1 Kirdape, turn 2 Tribal Flames, and hit them for 4 damage. Swing for 2, so that's what, 6, and then you go ahead and swing next turn. Then you go ahead and Might of Alara into a Boros Charm. If it's unblocked, and suddenly you just killed them. That's a turn 3 kill right there. So that's an option. Other spell options you can choose is Rancor. If you're sort of doing that trample idea, you want to go ahead and Rancor or Ghor-Clan. For what it's worth, I count it as a spell, even though it's a creature. Ghor-Clan Rampager gives it trample. I wouldn't do Colossal Might or something, because that's more Gruul's area. Path to Exile is something you could do as a 1 of, 2 of, maybe even 3 of. I wouldn't go more than a 2 of in this deck. It's Path to Exile is to clear the way, so that way your creatures can hit in. You're gonna Mutagenic Growth sometimes, but that's really only if you're relying more heavily on the back of Might of Alara. Pillar Flames is another one that you're going to see more often than not sometimes in this deck. Kill Sphinx, kills, Voice of Resurgence. These are both huge. And yeah, also opposing Deathrite Shamans. That's pretty much what you're going to see as sort of the spell basis in this deck that you can add to the shell that I'm showing you. Creatures. If you want to go more of a, if you want to end up going more of a sort of like tempo-y route, you use Snapcaster. Snapcaster will buy back Lightning Bolt, will buy back Lightning Helix, or Tribal Flames, and those are all really important cards to buy back. Or snap, I should say. I missed one other thing. 2 other cards. Planeswalkers. We'll get to that in a minute. Goblin Guide is another one. Goblin Guide, if you are looking at being a more aggressive deck, getting more of your damage in, and then finishing off with the Tribal Flames, then you're going to want to look for Goblin Guide. You also could do Gruul. You can also do a sort of Gruul sort of setup too, and use Experiment 1 if you want. Other cards you can use. Kirdape is always a good choice. Dude was banned for a while and extended because he was so good. Loom Lion, you're already running white. Why not? Loom Lion's a great 1-drop. If you want some more ramp and you're looking more to be mid-range heavy, and you want to look at Noble Hierarch. Noble Hierarch ramps, but more than and gets Geist of St. Tef out there. That's important. But more than anything else, what Noble Hierarch does has is Exalted. You can do Birds of Paradise, but at that point you might as well start turning yourself into a Naya Zoo rather than a Tribal Flame Zoo. Burning Tree Emissary. Burning Tree Emissary was used at a long time ago in this deck when Bloodberry Elf was first banned, and it was sort of a fusion of Gruul Zoo. I don't think it's that great here because free dude is not really what you want on turn 2. What you want on turn 2 is Lightning Helix, Tarmogoyf, or Tribal Flames kind of deal. Let's see what else we've got that you can choose. Those are your basic choices. I can't really think if there's any other choice that. Yeah, that's pretty much your creature choices here. So those are something you can add to it. Planeswalkers, Johnny Virgin. This guy, he's good. I mean, he's Lightning Helixes. You can also play Control a little bit. You want to use him if you're using a more mid-range heavy deck, or if you're wanting to focus on your Planeswalkers a little bit more. Elspeth is another one. Elspeth Knight Errant. This guy's used in more aggro-y types of zoos, domain zoos, but also is used in the mid-range domain zoo because it bounces and it jumps and gives it 3/3. So basically gives your creatures evasion, helps sort of for the end reach is what you want it for. Boros Charm, again we talked about Boros Charm having its uses, but that's really sort of the common cards you'll see in Domain Zoo. Of course there's exceptions. After you figure out what kind of Domain Zoo you're looking at, if you want to go more tempo-y, more combo-y, more mid-rangey or more aggro-y, you add those cards in. What you want to do is you want to count each and every single one of your mana costs, and then try to figure out if you can represent the same ratio in your mana base. Mana base constructing for this deck is the hardest. If you have a bad mana base for this deck, you will have a bad deck. Because the mana base, at best, for this deck is shaky. So if you manage to just put too many basics in, have not the correct crack to fetch, crack to shock, you're going to end up not being able to cast any of your spells anyways. Again, Deathrite Shaman alleviates a lot of this, but it's very heavily relying on that. Let's look at the 2 most recent forms of this deck that's been sort of topping. You've been getting this kind of deck that's been topping online a lot lately, and this is the more mid-rangey, tempo-y deck. It relies less on aggro. It relies more on the mid-game. You're looking at mid-game cards like Geist of St. Taff and Tarmogoyf, and you're looking at Noble Hierarch and Deathrite Shaman to sort of excel you there. Path to Exile, you're saying, I'm going to have to win with my creatures, I got to clear the path. Elspeth the Knight Errant, which is giving you late game reach. Lingering Souls, which is sort of a throwback to when Infect was really, really good, and Affinity was super good, and Lingering Souls really wins those matchups and allows you to attack and have blockers at the same time. Tribal Flames. As you can see, the mana base is 23 here and is a tough cookie to crack. Let's look at the fetches first. That's the first thing we should look at. For Arid Mesas, your base is Naya. You want to have Arid Mesa because it fetches everything in those Naya colors. You then start looking at Marsh Flats. Again, you want the fetches that are Naya. They at least get one type of Naya in there. Marsh Flats, however, also gets you your third most important color, which is going to, or your fourth most important color, which is going to be black, specifically in this deck where you're using Lingering Souls and Deathrite Shaman for it. So you got Marsh Flats to get that. Scalding Tarn, you are going to be getting, again, red, which is probably the most important color in this deck to get. But it also fetches you blue, which will get you Geist of St. Taff mana. So that's what this one does specifically. Again, and it's very fluid. You just gotta, it's a trial of test and error trial after you sort of get what ones you need. You definitely don't want to use one of everything. It's a very specific formula these guys use. And these types, they get mountain and plains instead of a forest. The reason why is because the mountain is very important because it casts all your burn spells. The plains is very important because it casts Lingering Souls, Path to Exile, and your Elspeth. The reason why you want to grab that is because you're more worried here about Path to Exile than you are to Blood Moon. Blood Moon won't stop this. It will slow it down insanely, but it won't stop it. Path is much more of a bigger problem because you're hoping you'll win the game on the back of your quality creatures. This one is an interesting list that won the Grinder. It was undefeated and got someone into the GP, Kansas City. It's sort of a fusion between a Gruul Zoo and a what do you call it, zoo? A domain zoo. Still is very Gruul Zoo-y in the fact that it needs to be very aggro-y. But it still has its reach in the form of domain zoo. Whether I like it more than this, I don't like either one of these. But if I had to choose one for the current meta, which is very fast-paced, or just there's oops, I wins combos, I'd choose this one because it's faster. You can manage a turn 3 win with this if you're really, really lucky. You get a pretty consistent turn 4, turn 5, turn 6 win. Hopefully before the combos combo off. It's also very resilient to control decks. This is better against control decks. This is also way better against mid-range decks. This version sucks against mid-range decks. This one, okay against mid-range decks. Again, you're looking at Zoo's historical problem is they're weak against combo decks and they're weak against mid-range decks. The reason this Zoo came to be in this form that I'm showing you right now with the more mid-range is because it needed to be that in order to beat Jund. Was it better than Jund? No. But sometimes you gotta hedge your bets and say, I don't think I can win taking the safe route. So instead, I'm going to take the explosive route and hope it wins me the game. That's sort of the reason why this deck came to be. Is it better in the current meta? No. I think that Gruul Zoo is better in the current meta. Even just straight green red is better in the current meta. Let's watch some games. See if these games are up. Nope, they're not up yet. Okay, and we're not gonna watch some games that I played yet. I played some games, but I guess that guy's still playing some games and testing his deck, so I don't have access to the video of it yet. But okay, so let's talk about the weaknesses of the deck and talk about the strengths of the deck. The strengths of the deck is it can just sort of win out of nowhere sometimes. Even when the opponent is throwing lots of resistance against the deck, it sometimes just says, I don't really care, and wins. That this deck does do better than Gruul Zoo. Gruul Zoo, while being resistant to running out of gas, it still can run out of gas. This one is a bit more heavy on the creature quality. As such, it doesn't run out of gas so easily. Even if you manage to get into, let's say, 5 to 8 points of damage, let's even just go with 5 points of damage on a Tarmogoyf. You manage to Tarmogoyf with a Noble Hierarch, and you've gotten 5 points of damage, your board got wiped, that's all you have now is a mana base, and that's it. Well, saying that were to happen, and saying the opponent took 4, let's give him the benefit of the doubt, 4 damage off of his fetch lands. Now, what you can do is 5 plus 4, that's 9. You have a Snapcaster in hand as well as a Tribal Flames. Well, now you're looking down at it's still death. You can go ahead and Tribal Flames, and then next turn snap the Tribal Flames, and then he's down to 1 life and within Snapcaster death. So if it's anything, it's resilient. However, it takes so much damage due to its mana base, and its mana base being 5 colored by nature is hard to maintain. You're looking at a deck that will always be down to 14 by its own merit in every game it plays. 14 being that two shock lands, 2 fetches. That's just the nature of the beast. There's no way around it. You're going to be at 14. You're basically, your starting life total is 14. As such, it can't win against Burn. There's nothing it can do to win against Burn. It will always lose against Burn. I guess it can win against Burn if Burn keeps a hand with no mana in it. Then it can win against Burn. But otherwise, it's very unlikely to win against Burn. Can it win against like Twin or those types of Melorapod, those types of combo decks? Well, if they don't combo off right away, yes, it can. If they do start comboing off and just ignore you to go to combo, the best thing you can do against those types of decks is to use your Tribal Flames as normal Burn. You can do that, and then just try to hang on with Geist of Saint's Half, Snap, or become a tempo deck instead of an aggro deck. That's sort of the best thing that you can do when it comes to that. But if you don't have that, if you just focus purely on the aggro, you're not going to win that game. Combo will outrace you 9 times out of 10. Because you don't have the speed, and we're talking about this list rather than this list, which is new. It's very new and very experimental. Pun. We're going to talk about this list. It's slow. It is slow. It's a mid-range deck. It's a mid-range tempo combo deck. What do you do against tempo? Well, you just generally kill tempo. Mid-range has always had a pretty good game plan against tempo. What do you do against other mid-range? Hope you get Tribal Flames or lose. That's really what happens with this deck. Against mid-range, you need to get the extreme explosion of Tribal Flames. Luckily, they give you the time to sort of wallow around until you get your Tribal Flame Snap going on. But your aggro is not going to happen. They've just got better creatures, better removal. It's what's just going to happen to you. Against control decks, I'd say laugh. You laugh and hope. You'd laugh because if they counter your Tribal Flames, then your creatures are going to kill them. If they focus on your creatures, then your Tribal Flames are going to kill them. It's sort of a catch-22 for them. They can still win by just mana leaking your Tribal Flames, and then as you start getting into your creature plan, then they start just wiping the board. How do you play this deck? You want to play your ramp first, so that you can then start playing things like Tribal Flames, Lingering Souls, Bolts, Lightning Helixes at the same time during the mid-game as playing your mid-range creatures, which is going to be Deathrite Shaman, Geist, Snap, Tarmogoyf. That's what you're trying to do. With a deck that's more focused on the aggro plan, which is what I prefer for this deck, because I think it's a better ideal, you go aggro first, and then you keep your Tribal Flames as reach. Do I have my gameplay? Maybe. Maybe I do. Let's find out. I'm just going to... Bear with me. I'm going to go ahead and try to see if I can scoot around to getting the game replay. See if I can find it. No, I don't think I'm going to get it. So what I'm going to do instead, and this is going to be one of the first times I've done this, I'm just going to play a game here. And let's go ahead and deck editors, save deck as. I prefer the aggro version of this, but I will show the mid-range version of it just because that's the more popular version that people want to play, and it very much more differentiates itself. I think if you're playing the more aggro version, you might as well just play. If you're just playing the aggro version, you might as well just play Gruul Zoo at that point, I think. Alright, so we got a Deathrite Shaman, Geist of St. Taff, Tribal Flames, and a Tarmogoyf. This is going to be a great hand to show you guys. Whether it wins, who knows? I don't know if this deck is going to win or not, but we'll see. I have no clue what this guy's playing either. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and you got to keep and pay attention to what your mana base is. That's always important. So I'm going to keep this list up and refer back to it. We have access to blue over here, and we have access to red and white. We don't have access to black right now, which is what we're going to need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Scalding Tarn, I'm going to crack it. Woo! See, watch my life total drop like a rock. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the Blood Crypt. There's your Blood Crypt. Cool, cool. Deathrite Shaman coming out because he can be cheated out like that because Deathrite Shaman's broken. There's your access to Deathrite Shaman. The guy thinks I'm a Jund deck, probably, is what I've just done. I haven't shown him white yet. Even if I show him white, he'll probably, unless I show him blue, he'll probably, oh god damn it, we're playing against a red deck wins, huh? We can block here, but it doesn't help me. Cool, we get to draw a card. God damn it. I hope this is a Gruul Zoo, because otherwise this is going to be a very short game. I have a choice here. We can Tribal Flames here and be pathetic, or have to slow roll. Putting out Tarmogoyf here, especially if he's a red deck wins, is not a good plan. We're just gonna have to go ahead and hinge our bets on this. He doesn't have a basic forest in this version of the deck. He has a plains. We're gonna need to go with the plains here. Normally I don't like Kraken for basics, but especially in this version of the deck, it's fucking awful. Excuse my language, but we have to against this type of deck, and we drew another fetch, so it's all right. So we're gonna have to try to outrace this guy. He put down a basic mountain with a goblin guide. That is almost guaranteeing me he is a red deck wins or a burn deck.
I usually put sesame seeds in my rice just to give it a little bit more of a nutty and woodsy flavor.
Truth is, I could block here and trade. And then start gaining life, which seems like it's probably what I'm going to have to do here. Oh, he's a goblins deck. Okay, we're fine. Okay, we're good. Don't worry about it. That is a goblins deck. What this means is I'm going to go ahead and use my Geist of St. Taft next turn if he doesn't attack with this guy. And I'm going to start gaining life. That's exactly what he's doing. Okay. What card did I draw? I draw an Arid Mesa? Dude, I am just drawing nothing but fetch lands. That's not bad. Not great. Also, I don't have to worry about my graveyard then, so... Or, I'm sorry, just getting a random burn spell tossed to my face. We have a choice here. We can attack, and if he tries to block with Goblin Guide, we can burn it. Seems like an option. But I'm going to attack anyways. Because I'd rather hit for 4 currently. Double block. Okay. That's okay. I used it. Hey, it's removal. That's fine with me.
In all honesty, like rice cookers are the biggest ever. Like they literally do nothing different than a pot with a toilet. They don't do it. Their only difference is that they might not splatter, but most of them do. And some people like the warming feature, but it makes your rice ferment. So don't do that.
We're gonna go lower on life. I don't like doing this, but he's got the. Again, gotta pay attention to your lands. He's got the breeding pool, and I need access to green. Fantastically so much right now. We're gonna put the Tarmogoyf out. That's gonna be a 2/3, so it's gonna block. That's really the only reason I put it out here. If he tries to bolt it, it survives. So that's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna also. Let's see here. I guess I could have actually put that into play tapped, huh? Which is what we're going to do here instead. And then we're going to cast the Deathrite Shaman like that. Done. Again, Deathrite Shaman, the glue to keeping your dreams alive lies in Deathrite Shaman.
The good thing about that recipe is that it's pretty easily adjustable. We made a lot of here, but obviously it's just you don't have to make that much. So, and rice is the same way.
Explain what I did here.
The thing about extra rice that you need to be aware of is that you cannot keep it in the fridge for more than a day or two before it starts to go bad. And even after like a day, it gets dry. So what you should do if you have extra leftover rice and it's still warm, like that probably will be, you take it and you put it in saran wrap, fully enclosed, and
So yeah, I'm being a little.
We don't want to do that from
I'm watching my ass right now with my life. He's not a red deck wins, but he is an aggressive deck. Something that this deck does not like because it loses. But what I will be doing here is I will be gladly trading off my Tarmogoyf if I have to. I want Tarmogoyf to stay alive because it can block, but I want more creatures in the graveyard so I can gain life with my breeding pool. Okay. That's fine. Luckily, I got that basic plains. Ha! Lingering Souls. Hilarious. I still have access to all the colors I need to with my land in the graveyard. I don't want to use it right now, though. I don't want to Tribal Flames here either. But what I will do is...
Good. I did my beanbag test. Between 12 this morning and 8 this morning.
Tribal Flame. I'll go ahead and make some spirits.
So, sorry doing that.
Yes, you are. I mean, that's kind of what I did for my, I'm not gonna lie, my final project. I mean, I had already been working on it like a week straight prior when I had a big doctor's appointment.
The Blood Moon is there.
Procedure, and I got knocked out, and all this other stuff. So
That's fine.
He was like, you don't have to do all 6 seconds for your final. I was like,
We're going to swing with Tarmogoyf now. Yes,
so,
he can...
night before it was due.
Yeah, but he's going to have to block here because eventually I'm just out-tempo him with these guys. Not to mention I can make him lose life. I don't have access to green. That really sucks, right? I don't have access to green. That's one of the things I don't like about this deck is it doesn't have access to green to verse a Blood Moon.
5 o'clock.
I guess I do have access to green, but it's a one-time shot. I can't reuse my my life gain here, which is what I want to do.
It was awesome. I got an A.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
If he puts out Krinko, which he can do,
Do that.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Don't be like me. And
if he puts out Krinko, I'm gonna go ahead and Tribal Flames it. Krinko can't stand. Otherwise, I will lose the game. Just point blank. But this guy is gonna quickly run out of gas while I swing and kill his creatures. Not to mention I have blockers that could kill him.
it's good that he
There's a 90% chance that I will be taking.
I think he's the only teacher I can consistently.
Eventually, I'll be taking.
one project.
Depending on what he does.
You know, for the
Oh, put a sorcery out there. That's okay.
The entire project, but I would do like the part of the project I had the most trouble with.
So what's he
and then
sacrificing
try
to?
and improve that part, and it worked out pretty good.
Okay.
But yeah, there was one project I just
Sure.
did not have the time to review because I had to do the final. But you know, for all the other teachers, I'm like, sure, they would have redo. It's fine. Like, which I was like, oh yeah, that's bad. I'll redo that. It's fine.
Tribal Flames does 2 damage right now, is what it does.
Maybe next time I'll show you how to make like matcha.
I think I'll make more spirits and start swinging with them.
Yeah, 'cause I do a matcha.
Basilisk Collar. What is this deck doing?
Once. Next time you come, I'll show you how to make it. I just have to get the
What is this deck doing?
Dude, honey is so good for you. Like, even if it's like freaking cheap store, like honey's still honey. It never goes bad, ever. Like, until it turns into amber. But, it's the only all-natural substance that does not have an expiration date. But it's like full of antibacterial, antioxidant qualities.
So it's the Blood Moon that's killing me right now, not anything else. By the way, BT Dubs.
Hey, give my crazy health facts and
Let's see here. I got nothing in the graveyard I can use. I've got access to 2 damage burn. You can attach the Basilisk
I
Collar.
also don't believe in exploding water, so that's why I heat stuff up in the microwave. But you're supposed to use a kettle when you make hot water. But ain't nobody got that. It did happen though to my aunt. She was making tea.
I mean, the smartest thing I think you can do here is Basilisk Collar. It's just, he's not. He's trying to do something else. Goblin King. Okay. Sure. That blows.
I don't believe it to be true. Apparently it happens. I'm not sure why it happens. I think it's when you have a cold mug, like a really cold mug, and you put water in it and then you heat the water up, that happens. But
Geist of St. Taff.
using
Damn.
lukewarm water,
Damn. That would have ended the game
which is plain advice.
if I had a man out there.
It's real. It just might not
Too bad.
be.
Here's the thing. I could Tribal Flames here for a fair amount. Let's see. That's 4 damage plus an extra 2 brings him down to 8. Not worth it.
What other classes are you
Advanced AP technology. That's pretty fun. He's encouraging us to experiment and stuff. That's right. For the last 2 projects, I've been dragging my feet.
Do it.
Yeah, so this week is about getting back on the ball.
There you go.
You can attach Basilisk Collar to Goblin Guide, but I don't think it actually helps him that much. We can, but what ends up happening is I end up blocking. Yes, he loses life, or he gains life, but he loses creatures. Okay, so I can double block here, which will kill it. But then what I do is I deny him 2 life gain, and he ends up losing
Dude. Fluffing rice.
more life.
So,
I'm not getting anything else out of them other than...
rice battle. So fuck them because that is not true. All you need is a non-stick sweep. That's it. So don't do this. We have a Google class. Non-stick. What you're gonna do is you're gonna just slice through it so that you're not crushing the grains of rice and all that kind of stuff. But you know, metal also works, just not invisible because you don't scratch the surface. But as you can see, it's fluffing up, it's fluffing up pretty nicely, so good job. And you do want to fluff your rice, just so that
I'm not talkative.
the
He's being really slow about it.
This is rice and it looks so good.
Yeah, right. You guys look at beautiful.
Come on, dude, hurry up.
Yeah, really hurry up, Andrew.
Anyways, I'm just staring down a crap ton of things. And I can't really do anything because I don't have mana. And I got no access to putting more things in there. If I put the Snapcaster out, I probably could have won. As it stands right here, I'm looking like I'm getting hit for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, enough that I'm just going to go ahead and concede. Alright, so we have a ton of dudes. We need removal, is basically what this says. We're going to take out an Elspeth. We're going to put in that. I don't think we need any of that. We don't need any of this because he's not fetching. He's not using anything that's more than 4. Yes, this could win the game. Actually, I'm going to side this in because he's got Blood Moon. I'm going to take out Elspeth. I'm going to take out a Snapcaster. Why am I going to do that? Because if I had all mountains and I drew that, I could still win. That's the only reason. It's not like he's better against aggro decks. In fact, he's worse against aggro decks because he costs 5. There's no life gain this side. You're relying on Lightning Helix to basically do that for you, and Lingering Souls. It's not bad. We got Lingering Souls, we got Snapcaster, we got Tribal Flames. We'll keep. It was the Blood Moon that killed me, not his creatures. Creature base was awful. We're gonna get to turn 3 fine without him being able to Blood Moon. So I'm gonna go ahead and get non-basics. Why? Because we're going to turn 3 without me being... I don't have to crack it right away, actually. I got no 1-drops. Ain't no reason. Let's see, we got black-red, we need white is what we need. And a secondary color that we could use is a white-black, I guess. So let's get the Godless Shrine here. Cool draw. Let's go and right to his Goblin Guide next turn.
You want your stuff on all of this?
Yes.
If he doesn't have the Blood Moon, then he's pretty much dead. I can't see a way that he can survive losing 10 life while also losing a Goblin Guide in the process and having a Geist of St. Taft out in play. War Marshal does nothing. That's fine. He can attack with Goblin Guide, and I maybe draw a card. Yes, we're going to be losing a lot of life in this situation. Goblins isn't a tier 1 deck. Goblins is explosive if you let it get explosive. Burn just sort of does the job better. Another Lightning Helix. I would gladly draw that Lightning Helix. So we've got blockers for my Geist of St. Taft, but I don't really care. If he pays for this Echo, then he's up shit's creek. Then I know he doesn't have the Blood Moon. If he goes ahead and Blood Moons me, that's fine. He paid for the Echo. He doesn't have the Blood Moon. Again, I got the Lightning Helix in hand, so depending on what he puts out, I don't really care. So, here's the question. I have a Scalding Tarn now. I can do a couple things. One, I could attack with the Geist of St. Taft, and then Tribal Flames and Lightning Helix, one of his things. Or I can just go ahead and Tribal Flames and Lightning Helix him while taking him 4 damage. That's going to be 5, 7. Yeah, that's the better idea. There's just so much damage in that choice. Keep the microwave for me. Sure, Battle Cry. That seems to do nothing in this situation. So, here you go. Being a tempo deck. Keeping him a bolt away from dying. As you can see, this deck is very explosive. More explosive than this Goblin deck is. Which is saying something. But this is a good example of what this deck does. How it manages to get an opponent down to 0 and 20 very quickly. I mean, that was an insane amount of damage that this deck's managed to pull out of its butt. Funny thing is, he's got to leave something back to block. If he doesn't, he dies. I mean, Lingering Souls will still get there eventually. Let's see here. Sure. So I'm going to crack this because I'm trying to draw a bolt right here. And I'm actually not. I'm going to get a basic planes because I want to be able to Lightning Helix. If I get the Lightning Helix, and if I get the Lightning Helix in 2 turns. Marsh Flats is everything I did not want to see. he can only kill one of them. I can block with a lot of other things. This is giving me basically another draw phase. I guess I have to block 2 of them. Because he's going to be able to shoot down 2 since he had so many mountains. And there's the bolt. So, as you can see, this deck relies on needing to burn out the wind. That's one of the reasons I don't like it, is against aggressive decks like this, you really are fighting an uphill battle. Nothing in this sideboard specifically, like no Kitchen Finks or anything. The other one had 1 Kitchen Finks. At least. So what do we got here? We got Deathrite Shaman and 1 way to cast it. Cool, but no, not that it does anything. We'll keep it. Because it's got Lingering Souls, and that's the main reason. Thanks for the Arid Mesa, dude. So many Lingering Souls. So we're gonna keep the Deathrite Shaman alive here. We're not gonna block with the Goblin Guide. Goblin Guide's probably the most threatening thing in his deck besides the Blood Moon to us. We're not going to play the lightning bolt either next turn, because we don't want, we can use that for something else. Oh, there goes our Deathrite Shaman. There goes our whole plans. There goes the neighborhood. 2 Goblin Guides. Lightning Helix, that's a good draw. So, what we're going to do here is we need to get ourselves a green mana. As much as I don't want to hurt myself down all the way that I have to do, gotta do it. This is, again, one of the reasons why I don't necessarily like this deck that much. It seems very good against mid-range decks, but aside from that, it's just aggression that's just filled in Modern right now just overruns it. Yes, it can outrace combo decks if needed as well. Does it do it fantastically? Not so much. You can't pay that Echo next turn, so he's going to go ahead and let that thing die. It's just basically an overpriced... So many Lightning Helixes. Yeah, this is what we do here. And then we hope he never draws Burn Spells. So that was it. I lost, but I hope that at least gave you a showing of how to run the deck. I got 4 Gs. I was so great on that one. Again, I don't think the deck's that great right now. People still use it. People still swear by it, probably because it has Geist of St. Taft, and people are very into that card. It's got Snapcaster in blue, so it's cool, I guess. But I think when you add blue to an aggro deck, you actually make it slower. But without Bloodbraid Elf, the ability to negate the damage that you're getting from the fetch lands and the shock lands, and the fact that you're so color screwed so easily, becomes super reliant on Deathrite Shaman. And once that gas runs out, you're dead in the water. You're also dead to a lot of aggro decks. So I don't like it that much. But there it is for you guys who want to actually play this. Enjoy, have fun, use responsibly, whatever. See you guys.